Hey, it's Malcolm. I wanted to break down the components of the SomeWhereBox video that I made and just show you how some of the stuff was done. There honestly wasn't a lot of planning on this one, so some of the footage isn't ideal, but I think it adds to the unscripted, just showing off a project feel of the video. There actually is a functional computer script in the video. Obviously it doesn't actually open a portal, but it does open an image in full screen. So I made a green screen with some tracking markers on it and set the script to open it, which was kind of the backbone of the effect in the video. After I had the base footage that had some great motion tracking points, I loaded up Blender and tracked the monitor. The idea of motion tracking is to create a virtual camera that closely matches with the movement of the actual real-life camera, and then Blender can use math to figure out the movement based on how those points move in the original footage. Once I had the camera movement figured out, I could create a virtual scene and stick it over the real footage to make it look like the virtual thing actually exists. From here, I wasn't entirely sure what I wanted to do with this scene. I played around with some ideas that didn't pan out, although I might use some of them in a project down the road. So here you can see a couple of layers coming together, so all the way from the material in Blender to the Blender render, and then all the way to what it looks like when that render is taken and put over the original footage in Final Cut Pro, and some of the effects on that. And then you can also see all the way back to the original footage without any effects on top of it and what that looks like. So for the portal effect, I used a technique called projection mapping, which basically projects a 2D object onto a 3D mesh. So then the image can be looked at from different angles with a 3D effect. And I had to use multiple cameras so that the projection map would line up nicely into the footage I was transitioning into, and it created a nice smooth switch from one clip to the next. There was one little hiccup. To sell the effect, I wanted to wave my finger in front of the image. Because the image on the monitor has motion tracking points and a green screen element, I was able to create a small layer that went on top of the rendered layer from Blender. I then used a combo of green screen keying and manual mask to add the finger back as a top layer. The portal transition has a lot of effects that mask some of the imperfections and create a more interesting movement. I did those effects in Final Cut Pro so I could adjust them later without having to re-render the entire scene. There's blur, rescaling, a prism effect, and some speed blade retiming, so it creates a nice movement. So because I never made a script and didn't plan things out too far ahead, the video of the mountain at the end was taken months ago and was never really intended to be used in a video like this. So because I really wanted to sell the shot by putting some dialogue in the last shot, I had to record some audio. Recording it in a room didn't sound right, so I had to go outside, which just happened to be past dark. So I was just standing out in the street in front of my house saying, "Oh, that's pretty cool. Oh, yeah, that's cool," like 4 times in a row. And it looked a little weird, but it ended up working pretty well. As far as sound effects, I used a cork, a clap, and a hum, as well as a razor. So all of the effects have some sort of distortion, reverb, pitch shifting, and actually most of them are reversed as well to create kind of a science fiction-y sound. My favorite sound effect is the echo into the mountains as the portal closes. I think it's just a nice little closing touch. So yeah, all of those came together pretty nicely. Pretty happy with how it turned out. I'd like to do more of this style of video and then also a breakdown video at the end instead of my normal just blog post. So be on the lookout for more content like this. Thanks for watching. I always appreciate that. Hope you have a wonderful day and take care.